Martin and everybody who's part of these efforts for what you're doing. And thank you to all of the elected officials and the first-time candidates who are here today. I'm so proud to be among you. And I am so proud to be part of the most diverse field of Democratic candidates ever put forward. Anyone who is elected to have the New Hampshire rightly prides itself on being first in the nation. And there are so many examples of that around us. One right here, who we are honoring tonight, Chris Pappas, the first out member sent to Congress from here in New Hampshire. Congratulations on that. In 2012, this state sent the first all-female delegation to Congress and elected a female governor to vote. And then, not to be outdone, you outdid yourselves, and in 2016 sent the first all-female, all-Democratic delegation to Congress and set the example for the whole country. And then Manchester elected Mayor Joyce Craig, the first woman to serve as mayor of this city. And these historic firsts, they didn't just happen. They happened because you stood up for the values that we believe in. You organized and you made sure that your voices were heard on election day. And that's what we're going to do on November 5th. I know I'm here by way of 2020, and I know I'm here by way of talking about national politics. But the reason it is so important to elect the outstanding local, school, city, and other officials that we're recognizing today is that the Democratic Party must never be caught treating the presidency like it's the only office that matters. There is power and meaning in state and local office, and we're never going to share it. Elections matter because they embody our hope and expectation for a new day. It's part of what I was trying to convey at the debate last week, creating a sense of where we're headed, asking Americans to picture what's going to happen that first day the sun comes up after the Donald Trump presidency comes to an end. Because it's a happy image at first. I mean, no question, it's going to be a relief to turn the page on the corruption and the chaos and the tweets full of typos greeting us on the news every morning. No question, but the sun's going to come up that day on a country that will be even more torn up, even more polarized than we are now. With everything that we've been through, with everything that we're about to go through. And the challenges, the crises that brought us to this point, haven't taken a vacation for this presidency or for the impeachment process. The sun's going to come up on a country rapidly approaching the point of no return when it comes to climate change. The sun's going to come up over an economy where even when it looks good on paper, millions of Americans know that they can barely get ahead, barely hang on to what they've got. The sun's going to come up over a country still beset by a gun violence epidemic that is stealing lives in our schools and our houses of worship and every day on the streets of communities like mine. And even beyond those challenges, on that day we're going to have to confront a crisis of belonging in the United States of America. Like so many Americans, I know how it feels to question your place in this country, wondering whether I belonged in my military unit, in my own community. And I know that in different ways, for different people, for different reasons, this deep yearning for belonging is contributing to everything we're up against, from the divisiveness in our politics to the increase in what are called deaths from despair. I'm running for president for that day after, to be the president who will pick up the pieces and guide our country forward. Running because America is running out of time. And we can't wait any longer to change the trajectory of this country. I'm running because I reject the idea that we got to choose between either taking bold action to move the country forward or unifying this country in a common direction. I do not believe we can get away with skipping either one or the other step. We have got to do both in order to make it as a country. And my faith in being able to do that is rooted in where I've come from. In the industrial Midwest, in a community where I didn't even understand until I went away to college that it wasn't normal to have empty factories and empty houses all around you that I saw through the window on the way to school. I've been reminded again and again in my life that all politics isn't just local, it's personal. On the worst days and the best days of my life. On the day when we sat in a side room at the hospital and the social worker explained to my mother that the best game plan for our family, if my dad was going to need long-term care, might be to just exhaust all of the resources until we qualified for Medicaid. And think, well, what kind of country is this? The day that I put a letter in an envelope and wrote the words "just in case" on the outside, put it where I knew my family could find it if I didn't come home from Afghanistan. But also the very best day of my life, my wedding day, knowing that the opportunity to be married was brought to me by a one-vote margin on the United States Supreme Court, and by the activists and millions That's what politics is about. At least that's what it should be about, our everyday lives. And the ways that the decisions made in those big white buildings in Washington find their way into our homes and our workplaces and our families and our paychecks. And we send people to Washington, but when they get there, it's like it's just about who looked better on TV. It's like it's more about the fighting than it is about us. And right now, the folks in charge are dividing us around the very values that are supposed to unite us as Americans. Like patriotism. They talk about patriotism and love of country. Truly honoring the flag means never using it as a weapon against a fellow American. Hugging the flag, literally, is not enough to be patriotic. Matter of fact, what is patriotic is to recognize that when somebody blows the whistle on official misconduct, that is an act of loyalty to the republic for which we stand. Faith. To me, faith should never be something used to tell anybody they're less than. And no scripture I've read condones a budget that cuts food out of hungry children's opportunity, or tears children out of the arms of their parents. Whatever happened, I was hungry and you fed me. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. That's my idea of what faith ought to mean. Freedom. And yeah, sometimes freedom does mean getting government out of the way. Like getting government out of the business of dictating to women what their reproductive health care choices are. But sometimes it means demanding that government step up, and that's why we've got to insist that government step up and deliver Medicare for all who want it, universal health care coverage so that everybody, one way or the other, gets the opportunity to know how their health care is going to be paid. Well, this wall that the president wants to build around Mexico, or maybe Colorado, I can't tell, that's never going to get built. But very real walls are being built in our families and our communities between us. We can feel it as Thanksgiving approaches. And some of us are getting ready for a meal that could turn into a bit of a minefield. That's what we got to do something about. And New Hampshire, you get the opportunity, this first in the nation state, in just a few months, to take one last look at that reality show, or horror show, or whatever kind of show you want to call it, and you get to pick up the remote and change the channel to something better for America. I'm running to be the president who can make that happen. Remember, every time our party has won the presidency, every time in the last half century, it's been with a candidate who was new on the national scene, not viewed as a creature of Washington, calling the nation to its highest values, and representing a new generation of leadership. That's how we win. And boy, do we need to win this time. We can't afford that. And I've got an added benefit in the realm of public health, which is that I promise you a presidency where when you turn on the news and you look at the White House, your blood pressure goes down a little bit instead of up to the roof. But what I'm about is making sure that in a few years, we'll be able to look in the eyes of the kids who show up at my events right now, some of them not yet old enough to vote, and not be embarrassed to tell them what's happening in the country. The 12-year-old who came to my event and asked me what we're going to do about health care because she's got juvenile diabetes and she's worried at the age of 12 about what will happen to her if she isn't able to get coverage from her parents. Or the 14-year-old who wrote me and said that she's so afraid of getting killed at school that she's written a will at the age of 14. It's embarrassing. But imagine if a few years from now, we could look in the eyes of those same kids and say, all right, I'm sorry things got to where they did in 2019, but look at what we did in 2020. Look at what we did to make sure that gun violence was rare in this country. Look at what we did to make sure that the economy was a tide that really did lift all boats. Look at what we did to make sure that your race in this nation is no obstacle to health or wealth and has nothing to do and no bearing on your relationship with law enforcement in this country. Wouldn't we be proud of what we did? That's the opportunity before us. So, running for office is an act of hope. There's a reason they call us hopefuls when we run for office. And so is helping people run for office and organizing, voting, volunteering, everything that you do every day. So my question to you is simple. Are you ready to spread to everybody you know the sense of hope that is required to be involved in politics and bring about the changes that will make America a place that we are proud to tell our kids about? Are you ready to pick up the remote and change the channel to something better? Now, I'm pretty sure that together we're going to be awfully proud of what we did in 2020. Thanks for everything that you do. Thanks for including me in it. We're going to see you step by step all the way to the nomination in the White House. Thank you for your answers.